Conspiracy theories. You will hear a lot about them on this channel. Many I will express hesitation about, skepticism of, or I will outright disbelieve them. Some I even plan on debunking. But what if there is one conspiracy theory that I believe because I have witnessed it myself? It is true. I'm about to tell you about a conspiracy theory that I do believe and one that I have seen for myself. What is it, you might ask? It is the story, the sightings, and the government's use of black helicopters. Yes, I believe in black helicopters and do believe I have seen them. Hear me out and let's talk about it. What is the conspiracy theory surrounding black helicopters? Well, it is actually pretty simple. Whether it is an attack, a natural disaster, or even a political protest, unidentified helicopters covered in black paint and unmarked frequently fly above. These are not media, federal departments, or even the military, which have identifying symbols, registry numbers, or even logos. They are easy to spot, but these completely black helicopters, not so much. Sure, you can miss them among the myriad of chaos happening around you, whatever the circumstances, but ever so often they fly just low enough that you can see them. Some even say they fly silently with their propellers never making a sound. They are just painted black and circle the sky like vultures over an animal carcass, spying on citizens and collecting data on what is happening. Now, it is true that certain branches of the military and even some federal agencies use black helicopters for operations, and no one is disputing this. These helicopters, however, are marked either by their agency's image or by a registration number that is easy to see and read so it doesn't, get confused in the whole situation. What is interesting about this conspiracy theory is that it has become so widespread that even President Joe Biden, then vice president, commented about it in 2013 while bashing law abiding citizens who happen to own firearms, of course. What would an encounter with a black helicopter be? One commenter posted on Reddit and the Truth Is Here subreddit, and he describes an encounter that is commonplace for most who have spotted them. He wrote, "My dad saw an unmarked black helicopter in our pasture in South Dakota in the mid 90s. He didn't know it was there until he topped a hill while checking cows and saw it hovering in a valley. It took off when he pulled out his rifle to use the scope to get a better look. He said the windows were tinted dark and he could see motion inside, but not really make much out. He said it didn't make the right sound. It was as though the noise was suppressed or muffled somehow. There was no military bases or even any other helicopters based anywhere remotely close to us at that time. All our local airports were Morton sheds full of crop dusters. This was right after a neighbor had a cow turn up dead in an X-Files mutilation sort of way. Dad hadn't thought too hard about that until he saw the chopper. Those two things combined kind of ramped up the spook factor and made it harder to think it was just a random event. To make things even more TV unbelievable, the neighbor hadn't spoken of it to anyone else and showed only my dad and brother the cow before destroying it. Dad pondered about that chain of events for decades." So, where did this conspiracy theory come from? There is some debate, but it seems to originate in the 1970s. Some tie it to the 1970 book, The Late Great Planet Earth, by the Christian evangelist Hal Lindsey, who wrote that black helicopters could be sort of compared to the locusts mentioned in the Bible in the book of Revelation. However, it can go even further back. Some farmers claim to have seen them after a massive cattle famine that was caused by the Dust Bowl of the 1930s Depression era. The John Birch Society, a right-wing advocacy group, greatly promoted sightings and even claimed that these black copters came from the United Nations. This was mostly ignored until 1995 when a Republican congresswoman from Idaho by the name of Helen Chenoweth, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, made them famous by the suggestion that many of her constituents had, in fact, seen black helicopters in her district. In an interview with the New York Times, she admitted she had never seen one, but said, "But enough people in my district have become concerned that I just can't ignore it. We do have some proof." Now, that is very compelling, and her comment gave credibility to the black helicopter sightings. Of course, politicians, federal organizations, and even the media have come to use black helicopters as pejoratives, trying to tie sightings to kooks or fringe militia groups. For a time, I believed this. That was until several incidents in 2017 and 2018 that changed my mind. So, what happened during those years? At the time, my super cute wife and I were living in Los Angeles, California. We saw massive fires caused by government malfeasance, though they quickly got their celebrity donors to blame the climate change conspiracy theory, ironically enough. The Ventura fire in 2017 got pretty close to where we lived at the time, and we could see the smoke off in the distance. During that incident, I saw emergency service and media helicopters all the time. But guess what else I saw? Black helicopters. Call me weird, a kook, or do not believe me. I do not care, and no, I took no footage of it. I just saw these strange black helicopters with no markings circling the areas around the fires and even flying overhead into the city. That is why, yes, I do believe black helicopters are out there. I do not have answers on what organization is using them or why, but I know what I saw. I do suspect the government is involved somehow. To what extent, I don't know. If someone is watching and if you do not believe that, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. So, what do you think? Have you seen a black helicopter? And if so, where? Do you believe they are just a conspiracy theory? Either way, tell me in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. If so, be sure to like, share, and subscribe here at StudioJake After Dark. Don't forget, you can support me on my locals community. The link is in the description. And don't forget to ask, what happens when you turn out the lights?